Welcome to Soundcheck with Pastor Isaac. This is episode number 130. And today we're just sitting back and we're talking and we're just having a good time, reminiscing, talking about Christmas. And what Christmas meant to us as children and as adults, what we experience with our children. And we want to talk about the real meaning of Christmas, because a lot of times people forget why we celebrate during this season and the importance of that. And so we're going to go ahead and just sit back. We don't have any particular notes, no particular plan. So we want you to invite your family. Just come and reminisce with us. Maybe you can come up with your own stories of reminiscing and things that you all did as traditions way back when you were a kid or this past Christmas. You can let us know. Put it in the chat. Let somebody know that we are here. And so this is episode number 130, and we're just celebrating Christmas together.
Ooh, yes.
Now, of course, I have my lovely wife with me. And I want to share something that somebody made for me most recently. And this is very important to me because somebody thought enough about me to make this. And I'm going to show you a quick picture of it so you can see what it looks like. But I really appreciate it. This came from Tanya's cousin. And should we say his name?
Yeah.
Domingo.
Yeah.
Domingo, thank you so much for thinking about
nice.
us and thinking about me in particular in ministry. And this is something that I'm excited about. I'm really thankful for that. So thank you again. We appreciate all others, too, that have given through the year with their monetary donations towards Soundcheck with Pastor Isaac. It helps us to keep going. I hope you see quality getting better on the cameras and lighting and different things like that. So I hope everything's improving. So with that said, let's talk about when we were kids. Do you remember when you were a kid?
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, Christmas was fun. It was always fun.
It has always been a tradition in my family when I was younger too, to just celebrate Christmas. Christmas was like the big day of the year. When you were a kid, did you all have a tree?
Actually, we didn't. Apostle Foreman, we had a cross. We didn't have a tree. And we had a cross, and it didn't matter. And I think he had like white lights around and wrapped it around the tree, but it had the same. We knew, they taught us what the real meaning of Christmas was. And so on Christmas morning, we had a tradition where we didn't, when we got up in the morning, we couldn't just run down the steps and go, oh, our presents. We had to, I shouldn't say we had to, but we did. They told us pray first. So we got on our knees, all three. Well, at the time it was the three of us.
Your two older brothers.
Yeah. And we got on our knees and we thanked God for blessing us and giving us this day, and told him happy birthday and stuff. And then we ran down and to the cross. At the cross is where the gifts were, and so that's what we enjoyed. It was fun. I didn't see anything different. Now I realize other people had trees in their houses and stuff, but we had the cross. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, we didn't have a cross. In fact, we didn't even really talk about Jesus when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
We did go to church, but we didn't really celebrate Christmas as Jesus' birthday. Now, that's really what this holiday is about. It's about his birth. That's why we always see this thing that says Jesus is the reason for the season. Because if there was no Jesus, there would be no celebration. There would be no celebration of lights. Jesus is the light. His Bible talks about he is the light of the world. And in fact, he tells us that we are the light of the world, not because we've done anything great, but because God now lives inside of us. But let me tell you about when I was a kid. We believed in Santa Claus. Remember that jolly old guy that everybody says comes down their chimney? Well, we didn't have a chimney. When I was a kid, I didn't even never figure it out. We never had a chimney, so how in the world did we get the toys under there? But I do remember this one time. My dad used to work shift work, and my mom was there with us. I was maybe 4 or 5, and I can remember it was so hard to go to sleep. And I was listening so intently, trying to hear the reindeer laying on the roof and listening for the pitter-patter of their feet up there. I didn't hear anything. All I know is it was late at night, and my mom tells the story now. It was about 1:30 in the morning, and she was getting sleepy. And my sister and I, we were still talking, and we were so excited. And we can't wait to Christmas. We can't wait. And so what happened was my mom came in there, and she gave us some medicine. And we were like, Mom, I'm not sick. And she was like, here, drink this. And next thing I know, it was Christmas morning. Now, don't try to get my mom. My mom's in her 80s now, and so it's too late. All that stuff is way back. But the whole point was Christmas came because my mom made it happen. So when my dad got home, we were up, yay, tearing up toys and having fun. But that's what our Christmas was all about. But there again, I had no idea that Christmas had something to do with Jesus, because we didn't have any idea that it had anything to do with Jesus. And I like what your dad did. We never had a cross in our house, but I like the idea that Jesus is the gift. God gave his son.
Right.
He was the gift, the most important gift that you could ever receive. And if you haven't received him yet, you still have an opportunity to open your heart and let Jesus come in.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing on Christmas Day, to give your life to the Lord and say, yeah. And then he's given himself again, gift all over. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, you know.
That's right.
And then he can live forever. He can live in you and just, yeah. Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah. And so we represent what Jesus did as coming and giving himself by giving other people gifts. But yeah, you're right. We should give the gift of life instead of just a gift that we forget. Oh, what did you give me last year? We don't even remember. It's gone, and it might be broken by now, or you could have regifted it.
We don't do that. Okay.
We don't do that, but I've seen a few come across my desk that somebody gave me, and I realized, this is slightly used.
Or when you see somebody's name on the sticker, it's like, oops, I think
it's scratched off.
That's one of those re-gifts.
I'll tell you a funny story. My dad, he said that someone gave them a gift, and they didn't want the gift, and so they regifted the gift, and it was in the same box as something else that they thought was, well, what the whole point was, they gave the gift back to the person that gave it to them.
Oh, no.
That's not a good idea. You don't want to do that. But so anyway, if you're regifting, do your research before you decide to do that.
Yes, yeah.
But anyway, tell us now about when our kids were small. What did we do with them?
Well, when our kids were small, I don't know. I told you I used to work at a daycare when I was out of high school in my first years at college, and I worked at a daycare, and I saw during Christmas, it drove a point home. There was this parent was sharing with me that their child was really ungrateful. They woke up Christmas morning and the child was upset because they didn't get what they wanted. They wanted something specific. And they said their child had all these toys around them, but they want to throw a fit and get angry and stomp off. So what that parent did was they packed up all their child's gifts and they put it in the attic.
I applaud that parent.
Yeah, and they said, okay, so this is the way you go behave when you have all these things, and because you didn't get that one thing, you decided to throw a fit. So they said about, I don't know if it was like 3 months later or 6 months later. I know it was months later. They pulled the toys out then for that child, and that's what the child got to play with the toys. And I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe, first of all, that the parent had that much strength to be able to do that. But they were just so hurt after they spent all this money on trying to please their child. And then that child throws this fit, does a temper tantrum because they didn't get one specific thing that they wanted. So I said, gosh, when I get my children, because at that time I wasn't married, but I said, when I have children, I'm going to, make sure I teach them to be appreciative for what they get.
Yes,
and
we did that.
Right. Yeah, and I didn't let them make a list for me because that story was still ringing in my ear. I didn't let them make lists. It's like, if you know your children, you're around your children all year round, you know what toys they like, what toys they want. They talk about it. So I never let them make a list because I didn't want them to go through and go, I didn't get the such and such and such, or I didn't want them to do that.
Right.
So we talked about it and agreed. And the thing about it is, we told our children, if it doesn't matter what you get, you can get a pair of underwear. And I said, well, throw out the old ones, and here's a new pair. Be thankful because it was more than what you had before.
Right.
It was more than what you had. So, your kids.
And we didn't deserve it.
Right.
Just like we didn't deserve salvation, but it was a free gift.
Free gift. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you. Thank you, Father. I just, and so our kids grew up being grateful for whatever they got. And I tell you one thing too. I tell parents now, when your children are really young, to save your money. Save as long as you can while you can. I know we went a lot to the Dollar Tree at the time. We got them the little army men, the little plastic army men, and we got them coloring books and crayons toys that teach. And the thing about it was they enjoyed. You couldn't tell them that we didn't spend hundreds of dollars on them, but there are things that didn't cost us. We didn't break the bank and went into debt trying to get.
Well,
kids.
At the time, we didn't have it to do.
We didn't have it to do it anyway, and so it's like, well, we taught them from the very beginning. I remember somebody telling me, they said, "Well, Tanya, once your kids they get to school and they got start hearing about all the other kids and all the things that they got, they gonna start feeling bad." That never happened. That never happened. My kids were happy with what they had. We didn't go into debt. We got to keep a little bit more money to be able to pay those bills.
Yeah, and also I got on the floor and I played with them. We still talk about the army men and making our little ships out of Legos and rolling the marbles and all of that.
Aircraft carriers. Yeah, we had one son that he could make things out of anything. My son Aaron, he would get. We had some lumber down there because we were finishing a project. He would get the toilet paper tube when it was done, and he would make the little stacks. I don't know what you call them on the ship and everything, but he would make. He would have his little military, his little army men on them. Oh, they had a good time playing. Yeah. They had a good time.
Yeah, we did. I'm thankful God gave me boys. I wasn't the one to sit there and plait hair and put stockings on.
4 good gifts.
We had a ball. We had a good time.
And then that one year that we had a special gift, it was the year 1991. Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
This son Aaron, he was supposed to come in January. He was early. He says, "Merry Christmas, I'm here." And so, he came Christmas Eve. So that was my Christmas gift in 1991. That was a good gift.
Yeah, and so we've had a lot of fun with Christmas. We still celebrate it today. We still love getting our family together, which is now a rare occasion where everybody can be in the same place at the same time because many of them live in different cities now. And so, when we do have our family together, we always want to have that family time where we spend time together. Now, one thing that we will always have our children do, we didn't make them pray, but we made them all wait until we got up and we read Luke chapter 2. And our kids would be sitting there shaking their head. "Dad, do we have to do this again this year?"
They prayed too, though.
Well,
I think they did.
Yeah, they prayed that I would hurry up and read Luke chapter 2. But I think that's so important that the kids knew the real reason why are we opening these gifts? Why are we about to get something that is...
And it's not even your birthday.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
And so we always talked about Jesus, where he came from, how he came, and then we decided to open up the gifts and continue to celebrate from there. And we also had our big breakfast that my wife would always cook. I guess you see this. When we were first married, I was 130 pounds. I'm not that anymore. But we had a great time, and we always do. And we're looking forward to this year again, celebrating with our family. So we hope that you also celebrate with your family and also talk about the real reason of why we're doing this. Why do we celebrate Christmas? And it's not all about the Black Friday. It's not about all the big sales. It's not about whether I get a gift or I don't get a gift. But it's about knowing that Jesus Christ was born. And in fact, Jesus never even tells us to talk about his birth, but he always tells us to remember his death. Why? Because without that death and resurrection, we would not have the opportunity to have salvation, which is the gift that he came to give us in the first place. And so we want to thank you all for tuning in so many times throughout the year. And I had to get my wife back on again. I'll tell you this quick thing before we go. I had 2 of my family members, one of my sons and my mom, to say, "Isn't Tanya going to be on again?" I said, "She was on." "You said she was going to be on 2 weeks in a row." I said she was. So that tells me they missed a week somehow. So I had to get her back on again because they were complaining, going, "Where is she?" So here she is. I hope you enjoyed watching us today and listening to our stories. And so she'll be on again as the year comes on, as 2024 comes. And we're excited about this new year. Keep praying for us. Keep praying for my wife's health and strength. And keep praying that God will continue to have me speak to you the word that he's given us for this day. We thank you. God bless you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.